Please tell me that.
Did you know whether someone scored a 1600 or a 1060 on the SAT test, the scores only account for 10 to 20% of the variation in first-year college GPAs? As a student who did not perform as well as others on the ACT, SAT, I am qualified to tell you that even with low scores on a standardized test, I have achieved straight A's in my first year of college. Students should not be required to take the standardized tests such as the ACT or SAT to get accepted into college. It should be optional. First, I will inform you when the ACT, SAT test came about and the problems that are taking place because of these standardized tests. Second, I will explain what organizations should implement this change and how we can change this policy to something more valuable. First, I will tell you who created the standardized tests and what problems have been taking place right now. Around the 1940s is when the ACT, SAT was put in place. It came out after the IQ test was put in place, which the IQ test was to select the most intelligent people of the society, not necessarily to reform education. As noted in the November 2014 by the Education Foundation in the edition of History of Standardized Tests, it stated the College Board then puts Carl Brigham, who worked on creating the IQ test, in charge of a committee to develop a test that could be used by a wider group of schools. This test became known as the SAT-ACT. In 1926, the SAT-ACT is administered to high school students for the first time. From the year of 1959 to the year of 1968, when 950,000 students took the first administered ACT-SAT, to last year when 1.7 million students took these standardized tests, more and more problems have been arising. I believe that a standardized test score cannot predict a student's ultimate level of education, which is a better indicator for success in the future. As noted in the October 2015 by Samantha Lindsay edition of Scholar Prep, it stated the SAT can't reliably measure perseverance or interpersonal skills. These are the traits that result in long-term success in virtually any career field. The SAT-ACT can't accurately predict the effort that a student is willing to put into academics or how he or she will respond to assignments that require extended effort and concentration. Some people might argue that some colleges may use these standardized test scores to determine course placement, but I believe that the ACT and SAT cannot predict the effort that a student is willing to put in. According to the same article listed above by Samantha Lindsay, it reported high school GPA is a more accurate predictor of a student's ultimate success in college than an SAT score. A student with an average SAT score and a higher GPA is more likely to be successful in college than a student with a high SAT score and a GPA that's on the lower side. I can relate to this point because all throughout high school I had to work really hard to maintain the grades I wanted. I had a great GPA and an average ACT/SAT score. I believe that the ACT/SAT is a misleading test. Throughout the standardized test, the questions are not all straightforward, and the test developers try and trick you. Ariana M. Habibi, writing the OdysseyOnline.com, last accessed on February 14, 2017, says, the questions are not fairly straightforward, rarely requiring students to truly think about the question at all. However, this is a flaw in the SOL system, as well as the standardized test system as a whole. It does not test understanding of the material. Also, I believe that these standardized tests make students lack confidence. In James Putman's story in the ASCD in January 2018, he states, if your happiness is tied up in academic achievement and attaining high levels of education, receiving a low SAT score may propel you down a path of less happiness. Now that you are aware of these standardized tests were put into place and the consequences that students face, let's talk about how we can improve it. I think that the College Entrance Examination Board and the Educational Testing Service should implement these changes. I know that some may argue and say that the ACT and SAT allows colleges to weed out less qualified applicants, and without it, what would they do to determine that? I would say that there are a ton of different options. I think that we can turn the ACT/SAT into an optional test, and it should be the last thing colleges look at when accepting their students. Also, if a student is willing to take the test and want to send it to the universities, then I think they should take out the timing aspect of the test. Furthermore, I think these two services can create a test that allows students who know what they want to do in their future to take a specific test that's centered for their career. Also, you could allow students to choose what subject or multiple subjects he or she wants to be tested in. I think another great idea would to have interviews. Also, the colleges I'll allow the colleges to really get to know the students they are accepting into their schools. I think that you all can help make a change by supporting this policy. I bet some of you in this room agree with me that standardized tests did not reflect your true intelligence and work ethic. Getting involved with parent and teacher organizations early on in your child's career will help direct the school districts to recognize the shortcomings of standardized testing with hopes of changing these policies. Students should not be required to take standardized tests such as the ACT or SAT to get accepted into college. It should be optional. First, I informed you of when the ACT, SAT came about and the problems that are taking place now because of these standardized tests. Second, I explained what organizations should implement this change and how we can change this policy into something more valuable. Now that you have heard all the different ways in which the ACT, SAT can be changed, would you want to be a part of this change? Does anyone have any questions?
I just have a question. What do you suggest replacing the ACT, SAT score on the college application with specifically?
Like I said in my speech, that you can change it with an interview so that like the colleges can get to know the person themselves and see what their goals are for their future. Or you could also take a specific test for your career path if you know what that is, or if you don't know what that is, you can choose to take one of the categories of the SAT, ACT so that you can know which career to go to.